What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, Life of Jaffre. I, as promised, am doing some more stuff with getting to know you. I'm here with one of my good friends. His name is Habib. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the relationship between Africa and African Americans, particularly Nigeria, because, you know, Africa is a continent, it's not a country. So, yeah, we're going to talk about stuff like that. So stay tuned. So, Mr. Habib, where are you from?
I was born in Nigeria. I'm from Ondo State. You probably have never heard about the state, but born in Ondo State from Nigeria.
Okay. Awesome. What tribe are you from?
I'm a Yoruba guy, Ondo, from the western part of Nigeria. The biggest tribe in Africa generally, so I'm a Yoruba guy, proud Yoruba.
Okay, awesome. Yes, you guys, you probably are familiar with me taking my ancestry test. Most of my ancestry, my admixture ancestry is of Nigerian descent, but it didn't go down to a specific tribe. So I really don't know what specific tribe in Nigeria I'm from, or tribes, because, you know, of the migration pattern of the slaves and stuff like that. But yeah, it's probably Yoruba, but I would look more into that. But that's very interesting.
Yeah, true, because honestly, if I look at you, I'll think maybe you're from Nigeria. You're from a Yoruba tribe because you have the look.
Okay. Awesome. So what was your impression of the U.S. before you moved here?
Before moving to the United States, I'm like, yeah, this is like a really great place for me to grow up, and like I just put the United States in a great pedestal. Like, yo, this is like the top. This is the place to be, and there's no other place to be. Like, this is it.
So, if do you mind sharing with the viewers how long you've been in the U.S.?
I've been in the U.S. for like 5 years and some months.
What do you think about the American people?
Well, before moving to the United States, I was like, okay, these people are gonna be great. Like, I always watch this, you know, seeing the Americans on YouTube. I always have this perspective that black people in ghetto because of the way I see it in movies and all the series.
So yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. About that a little bit later, but yeah, you can delve into that if you like now. But I was just saying, okay, so we're talking about African Americans and African, the relationship, but in general, the whole United States of America, like in general, including all the mixture and diversity.
Yeah, I think they're great people in general because the way I see them, like before moving or moving here. Moving here, they've been great. Everyone has been fantastic. I really love the people, the culture, and I learned a lot of things from the people here. So it's been a great experience.
Okay, awesome. And can you go back to what you were saying about African Americans, because it is a stereotype that a lot of people, you know.
I mean, when you see it in the movies, like, you know, it's just crazy, like the ghetto, and that's what they're trying to like make people to know. Like I could name a couple of movies I've seen that like ghetto, like Power. If you've seen Power, the series, it's like ghetto. It's ghetto, like drugs, all this kind of stereotype, like black people are into drugs, ghetto, uneducated, and all that stuff. So
yeah. I know that here, growing up in America, or the United States, it would not be a term of endearment to be considered African or to have African features. They would consider that ugly, or they would call you African booty scratcher. And then also the perception of how we thought Africa was, particularly West Africa, well, Africa in general. But one thing, a lot of people, when they say Africa, they look at it as it's a country. But they don't realize that Africa is composed of so many countries, cultures, and tribes, and different languages. But yeah, how I was introduced to Africa, really where I grew up from, you know, I grew up in a rural area. We call everybody that was from somewhere else a foreigner. We said them foreigners. Yeah. Really though, when we talk about foreigners, we was talking about mainly Middle Eastern and Indian people. But still, like if you have a different accent, even if you're black, you'd be like, that person is a foreigner.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, the perception that I always had that it was just poor, you know, third world countries,
Filled with disease and
filled
war.
with disease, war, yeah, barbaric.
They're uncapped.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, it seems like it's almost being popular to be African now. You have what's called the Pan-African movement. I'm not sure if you've heard of that before.
This Afrofuturism, if you heard about that.
Yeah, the African diaspora being united as one. But then again, that's a different bag of apples, if you want to call it, because you have so many people in the black community in America that try to distinguish themselves from Africans and stuff like that. So, yeah. So to piggyback off what you were saying about the American people, and particularly African Americans or Black Americans, how do you feel about them as a Nigerian person? Despite what you have been shown on the media and stuff like that, how do you feel personally about Black Americans here in the U.S.?
I feel they're educated people because I go to Howard University and I've met a lot of like African Americans that are really smart. And I'm like, yeah, these people are really smart and I really want to associate myself with them, learn things from them. And most of my friends are African Americans, so I don't feel any type of way about them. I love them. You're African American too, and we're pretty good friends, so
Yeah.
and you've been good to me since day one, and I'm proud to call you my friend.
All right. I'm happy that I'm your friend. So yeah, so how would you say, outside of me and the people that you consider friends, how do African Americans treat you, or do you notice any difference? Do you think that they think that you're American, or do you think that they know that you're African?
First off, sometimes I don't really give the African vibe. That's what they say. Like, you don't really give the African vibe. Like, I'm like, what kind of vibe does the African give? I tend to ask that question. Like, they ask me, I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't really care about those things as long as I'm focused on being a good person, a good person. That's what I really care about. So, the first experience that I had with an African American was at my first job. It was like my first year coming to America. Because my first job was working at Starbucks, and there was this lady. Her name is Catherine. And she was really nice to me. And you know, coming to a new country, you feel this like low self-esteem. I don't know if you've experienced that, because coming to a new country, everything is new. The culture, everyone's new. You don't really understand how to relate with people and all that, because
Cultural
differences, and I'm like, okay, and I feel like, okay, is my English good enough to talk to these people? Because I always have this kind of way, because you know, watching it on TV, like African Americans talk pretty fast. That's what I have in my mind. Like, they talk pretty fast, and I tend to talk pretty slow for them to understand me, because sometimes, you know, I'm used to speaking to Nigerians. Because there's a way I speak my English that Nigerians will understand, but I'm in a new country. I have to like try to, you know, if you're in Rome, act like Romans, right? That's kind of the vibe I'm giving. So I tend to talk slowly. I was shy. Honestly, I knew I was shy there. So I was at the register, and this lady Catherine was like, she noticed I was shy and was like, Abib. She asked me what my name was. I told her, and she introduced herself. Abib, you got this. She was so sweet. She was so nice. She made me take my time to attend to her direction. I just felt this love from her. I'm like, oh my God, this lady is a really good person. And ever since then, we became friends. And I'm not even like gonna feel bad about it. I give her professional treatment because of that, because of the love she showed me. And I like, ever since then, I've been meeting a lot of African Americans that are really good. I've met some bad ones, but they don't represent the whole African American community. So, but I've met the good ones than the bad ones.
So why do you think there's a perceived issue between West Africans, Nigerians in particular, and Black Americans? Because like I have been in meetings and stuff like that, even in the scholastic environment, where a Black professor said, well, they don't like us anyway. And I'm pretty sure he don't even know much about the Nigerian culture, or even has a friend that's from Africa, West Africa in general. So what do you think is why do you think there's a somewhat of an issue between Black Americans and people from West Africa and Nigeria?
At first, I think it's the media, because the media will sell you anything they want you to want you to know, basically. And I feel like it's amongst the older generations, because they're always, they can't really change, basically, because it's really hard for them to change, because this is the information they've been given. So it's really hard for them to change. Because I noticed there's this word called Akata. I didn't even know about the word till I got here.
Oh, you didn't know about the word Akata?
I didn't know the word Akata till I got here. I'm like, what is Akata? Like, it doesn't even sound like Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa. I'm like, it's really made up. It's a made up name to like insult like maybe African Americans or so. I don't know.
So you're saying in Nigeria, the people don't commonly say the word Akata?
No. If they will say it's because they have a family member that lives in the U.S. that told them about the word.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff. It's another series that I'm gonna do later on, some months from now, well, a month or so from now, where it's gonna be dealing with another group of people that Black people seem to have beef with. But it seems like a lot of these issues they stem in America. So that's very, very interesting. I did not know that. I thought that originated in West Africa.
No.
Yeah. So and for you guys, this information, Akata, in other words, is a derogatory term that has been used or supposedly has been used from certain Africans to Black Americans. So basically, it just means wildcat, a wildcat. So it's not funny if somebody calls you that, but that's what it means. Am I right?
I'm not sure, because it sounds made up.
Yeah,
it's really made up.
Well,
because in my language it doesn't even
translate to anything.
No.
Okay, yeah. So Akata, from what I have done research and stuff on, it basically means wildcat. So it goes back into the saying of how the media portrays Black Americans here. It's being wild and untamed and stuff like that, with no home training, and all we good for is our labor, entertainment, stuff like that. And is it true that even in when you were growing up in school and stuff, did they teach you about the Atlantic slave trade?
Yes.
They did? Okay, yeah, because I've heard stories where they said that they didn't really teach people that, but that's another...
it depends on the school, though.
The school,
I went to a private school.
Okay. So what solution or more do you think will help open people's minds? I know you said you have older people. And to go back before we answer this question, I would say the older heads too are in Black American culture are very close-minded too.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us, we think that we're unique. Black people are everywhere throughout the globe, and we're not the only Black people that exist here and stuff. So it's just a situation that's just like, you have to educate yourself, and when you know better, you do better. But what solution do you think will help open people's minds, especially older heads and stuff like that? Or you think it's a lose situation?
Honestly, I don't think for them to change is gonna be really difficult, because they're old. It's hard for you to tell someone that's been used to this type of lifestyle to like change. But I think the change comes from the younger generation, and I think the younger generations are fine, because I don't experience any of this amongst people my age group. Everything's just going smoothly.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there are some that always say, there's this stereotype about Nigerians, that Nigerians are scammers. And sometimes I've heard guys say it's like, you Nigerians, you're just a bunch of scammers. I'm like, yeah, it's because you guys are too dumb. That's why we get to scam you and all that.
Who said this?
Like, it was
Black American?
Yeah, it was Black American. I'm like, yeah, I don't see. I downplay it as like you're too dumb. That's why they scam you like that. So
Yeah.
I don't even take it in the wrong way or something. But
Yeah.
hey, you met me, right? You know me. Have I ever scammed you?
No, you haven't. Scammed me.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
see, people. There's this TED talk that talks about dangers of one-sided story.
Mm.
I forgot the full title, but when I remember, I can just send it to you. So maybe you can like put the link to your video.
Okay.
So it's basically this TED talk about like getting one side of the story and not trying to find out the other side of the story. There's this stereotype about Mexicans that rapists, drug dealers, and all that. But if you go to Mexico, you'll be like, there are great people here that are not even into drugs. They're not rapists, like those type of things. Like people need to like find out both stories and like you be the judge of what you find out, basically.
Yeah.
So just like me, I see videos about African Americans being ghetto, being this. They're all this into like they're not educated, uneducated, hood rats and all that. So when I got here, I mean, I was schooling with most of them. I go to Howard, like it's dominantly black people there, 80% black.
Yeah.
So they're all smart people, and just focus on being a better person. I think that is the solution, because if we try to become a better person, we won't even care about where we're from.
Yeah, and then also, like you're saying, you would break the stereotypes, because if people see that they expect you to act a certain way and you act different, then that could open their minds that way too. Yeah, so you're very right.
And you can also look at it this way: if you're in the ghetto, how do you think people are gonna act?
Yeah.
And if you go to the suburbs, people are gonna act differently. It's about your environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, brother.
No problem, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, I was thinking about this, and would you like to introduce yourself, your socials on?
Oh yeah. So first of all, my Instagram is IM_Habib, H with two A's, HAABIB. That's my Instagram. And my YouTube, I just started my YouTube channel. It's about video gaming. I have like 20 subscribers. It's pretty small. So that's Habib's Gaming. And mostly it's not going to pop up, but we'll see. I'm just starting. I'm just trying to stream video games on the platform. So if y'all can subscribe, that'll be appreciated.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description for that. Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
Anytime.
And happy Thanksgiving, you guys. Happy holidays.